Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Importance and characteristics of social development. Characteristics of social development theory of a child. The characteristics of social development are often associated by the skill of cooperation, rotation, initiative, leadership, sharing, discipline, and participation. Social development and children. Ask any parent about their child's development and they'll often talk about speech and language development, gross motor skills, or even physical growth. But a child's social development, her ability to interact with other children and adults, is a critical piece of the development puzzle. What is social development? Social development refers to the process by which a child learns to interact with others around them. As they develop and perceive their own individuality within their community, they, they also gain skills to communicate with other people and process their actions. Social development most often refers to how a child develops friendships and other relationships, as well how a child handles conflict with peers. Why is social development so important? Social development can actually impact many of the other forms of development a child's experience. A child's ability to interact in a healthy way with the people around her can impact everything from learning new words as a toddler to being able to resist peer pressure as a high school student to successfully navigating the challenges of adulthood. Healthy social development can help your child develop language skills. An ability to interact with other children allows for more opportunities to practice and learn speech and language skills. This is a positive cycle because as communication skills improve, a child is better able to relate to and react to the people around him. Build self-esteem. Other children provide a child with some of her most exciting and fun experiences. When a young child is unable to make friends, it can be frustrating or even painful. A healthy circle of friends reinforces a child's comfort level with her own individuality. Strengthen learning skills. In addition to the impact social development can have on general communication skills, many researchers believe that having healthy relationships with peers from preschool on up allows for adjustment to different school settings and challenges. Studies show that children who have a hard time getting along with classmates as early as preschool are more likely to experience later academic difficulties. Resolve conflicts. Stronger self-esteem and better language skills can ultimately lead to a better ability to resolve differences with peers. Establish positive attitude. A positive attitude ultimately leads to better relationships with others and higher levels of self-confidence. How can parents make a difference when it comes to social development? Students show that everyday experiences with parents are fundamental to a child's developing social skill set. Parents provide a child with their very first opportunities to develop a relationship, communicate, and interact. As a parent, you also model for your child every day how to interact with the people around you. Because social development is not talked about as much as some other developmental measures, it can be hard for parents to understand the process and to evaluate how their child is developing in this area. There are some basic developmental milestones at every age, as well as some helpful tips a parent can use to support their child. Infants and toddlers. Number 1. Infants and toddlers. During the first 2 years of life, huge amounts of development are rapidly occurring. You can expect your child to smile and react positively to you and other caregivers, develop stranger anxiety, though it can be frustrating. This is a normal step in development. Develop an attachment to a comfort object such as a blanket or animal. Begin to show anxiety around other children. Imitate adults and children just as a child develops in other ways. Many social skills are learned simply through copying what a parent or sibling does. Already be affected by emotions of parents and others around them. As a parent, you can respond to your baby's needs promptly. Your child is learning how to trust someone. You can make eye contact with your baby, get down to their level and connect visually when you interact with them. You can babble and talk to your baby, always pausing to allow them to respond. You can play copycat with words and actions. You can play peekaboo. This teaches your child that even if you disappear, you will come back, and sets the stage for less stranger anxiety in the future. You can involve your baby in daily activities such as running errands or visiting friends. This shows them how you interact with others in a respectful, positive way. You can begin to arrange play dates so that your child can interact with peers. Number 2. Preschoolers. By this age, the stage has been set in the earliest years mostly by parental and other family interactions for a child to branch out. As preschool begins, your child can explore independently, express affection openly, though not always accurately. There can still be much frustration for your child as language development is still happening. Still show some stranger anxiety. Perfect the temper tantrum. It can be stressful, but tantrums are a normal part of child development. Learn how to soothe themselves. Be more aware of others' emotions. Cooperate with other children. Express fear or anxiety before an upcoming event such as a doctor visit. As a parent, you can demonstrate your own love through words and physical affection, which is a great way to begin teaching a child how to express other emotions as well. You can help your child express their emotions by talking through what they are feeling. You can play with your child in a peer like way to encourage cooperate play. This is a helpful when they are in a group environment and have to share ties and cooperate. You can continue to provide play dates and opportunities to interact with other children. You can provide examples of your trust in others, such as your own friendships or other relationships. Number 3. School children. By 5 and older, a child social development begins to reach new levels. This is a point in time when most children will spend more hours in a day with other children than with their parents. It is normal for them to thrive on friendships, want to please friends as well as be more like their friends, begin to recognize power in relationships as well as the larger community, recognize and fear bullies or display bully like behavior themselves as early as 10. Children may begin to reject parents' opinions of friends and certain behaviors. This is a normal step, but can be especially frustrating for parents. As a parent, you can talk with your child about social relationships and values by asking them about school and friends every day. You can allow children the opportunity to discuss social conflicts and problem solve their actions. You can discuss the subject of bullying and harassment both in person and on the internet. You can allow older children to work out everyday problems on their own. You can keep the lines of communication open. As a parent, you want to make yourself available to listen and support your child in non-judgmental ways. Your child's social development is a complex issue that is constantly changing. But the good news is that parents can have a big impact on how it progresses. By modeling healthy relationships and staying connected with your child, you can help them relate to the people around them in positive, beneficial ways. By encouraging them to engage with other children and adults, you are setting them up to enjoy the benefits of social health, from good self-esteem to strong communication skills to the ability to trust and connect with those around them. Number 4, why is social development so important? Newborn babies are highly dependent on their caregivers and the people in their environment. They need protection, nutrition, and comfort. So it is not surprising that babies look for guidance from adults from birth onward. Developmental psychological research has shown that already hours after birth, babies look longer at human faces compared to objects. They can even distinguish their mother's face from the faces of other women and have a preference for looking at their mother. A few weeks after birth, the caregiving of trusted and familiar people is rewarded by babies. Social smiling begins. The smile no longer simply signals I am fine but also I am glad you are here. A wonderful moment for parents. We are particularly interested in how infants and children perceive other people and learn from them. Social learning enables children to acquire languages, learn about opportunities and risks in the environment, about the functions of objects, and much more. So, in the first years of life, babies turn from newcomers with still limited visual acuity and little motoric abilities into alert young explorers who manage remarkably well to find their ways in the world. We want to contribute to a better understanding of this fascinating development. The more we know about healthy development, the sooner we can find ways to help children with difficulties, inform parents and educators about developmental processes, and create optimal learning environments for children. Eventually, the preeminence of Gazel's ideas gave way to theories that stressed the importance of environmental rather than internal elements and child development. As the ideas of Jerome S. Brunner and Jean Piaget gained prominence, Gazel's writings have been criticized by other psychologists because he did not readily acknowledge that there are individual and cultural differences in child development, and his focus on development norms implied that what is typical for each age is also what is desirable. Although the developmental quotient is no longer accepted as a valid measure of intellectual ability, Gizel remains an important pioneer in child development and is recognized for his advances in the methodology of carefully observing and measuring behavior and describing child development. He created a foundation for subsequent research that described both average developmental trends and individual differences in development. He also inaugurated the use of photography and observation through one-way mirrors as research tools.